Hi, I'm Daisy, and I used to be great at failing. Not failing at school, no, I was great at failing at love. 3 years ago, I was in love. His name was Leo. And Leo was the kind of boy who remembered how I took my coffee, extra sugar, less coffee, basically warm milk with a dream. He was sweet. Too sweet. Like eating an entire cake alone. You love it at first, but then your stomach hurts. We were together for 2 years. And then, one rainy Tuesday, he said, "Daisy, I need space." Space. That word is a lie, you know? Nobody needs space. Astronauts need space. People need honesty. But he said space, and I said, "What does that even mean?" And he said, "I don't feel the same anymore." And just like that, pop, the bubble burst. I cried for 3 weeks. I ate ice cream straight from the tub. I listened to sad songs until my ears hurt. My best friend, Mia, had to pull my phone from my hands because I was about to send him a 30-page letter. In Comic Sans. Yes, Comic Sans. I was that broken. But here is the funny thing about heartbreak. It does not kill you. It just makes you really, really stupid for a while. After 6 months, I stopped crying. I stopped checking his social media. I stopped wondering if he was dating someone new. I put all his pictures in a box, taped it shut, and wrote "Do not open. Emergency only" on top. Then I put that box in the back of my closet, behind some old shoes I never wear. I thought I was done. I thought I had healed. Oh, Daisy, you poor, sweet, silly girl. Let me tell you about my biggest problem in life, besides my broken heart. College. I am not a stupid person. I can cook a mean lasagna. I can name every dog breed in under a minute. I can even parallel park on the first try, most of the time. But math? Math and I have a very clear agreement. I stay away and it stays away. But the universe has a terrible sense of humor. My second year of college, I had to take advanced calculus. Advanced calculus. Those 2 words together should be illegal. They sound like a punishment from Greek mythology. For your sins, Daisy, you shall solve for X forever. The first week of class, I sat in the front row. I had my new notebook, my new pen, my new attitude. I told myself, this time will be different. I will understand derivatives. The professor walked in. He was a nice older man with glasses so thick they looked like tiny windows. He wrote an equation on the board. I stared at it. The numbers looked friendly at first. Then they started to dance. Then they started to laugh at me. I swear I heard one of them say, "Not today, Daisy." I failed the first quiz. Okay, fine. I can recover. I failed the second quiz. Not fine. I failed the midterm. That was a disaster. The grade was 34%. 34. That is not a grade. That is a temperature in winter. My professor pulled me aside after class. He said, "Daisy, you work hard, but you need help. One-on-one help. The college offers free tutoring. I strongly suggest you use it." Free tutoring. That didn't sound so bad. How hard could it be? A nice nerd with a pocket protector and a love for numbers. Someone who would smile patiently while I asked, "Why is the alphabet not enough?" I signed up that same day. The tutoring coordinator sent me an email the next morning. It said, "Dear Daisy, your tutor has been assigned. His name is Leo. He is one of our best. Your first session is tomorrow at 3 p.m. in library room 4. Good luck." I read that email 7 times. 7. I thought my eyes were lying to me. Leo? There are many Leos in the world. It could be a different Leo. A Leo who is 70 years old and likes knitting. A Leo who is allergic to me. Please, universe. Not my Leo. But I knew. The way you know when a storm is coming. The air gets heavy. Your stomach drops. And you start sweating in places you didn't know could sweat. I almost didn't go. I sat in my dorm room for 15 minutes, staring at the wall. My roommate, Chloe, walked in and said, "Why do you look like you've seen a ghost?" I said, "Worse. An ex-boyfriend." She laughed. Then she saw my face and stopped laughing. "Oh, you're serious. Which one? The one who stole your hoodie or the one who said, 'I love you' on the first date? The one who broke my heart 2 years ago. He's my math tutor now." Chloe's mouth fell open. She sat on my bed and said, "No, No way. That is either the most romantic thing or the most cruel thing I've ever heard. Are you going? I grabbed my backpack. I said I have to. My grade is a 34%, Chloe. 34. That's not just failing. That's falling with style. She nodded. Okay, but promise me one thing. Don't cry. And don't punch him. Both are bad looks. I walked to the library. The walk felt like a mile and a lifetime. Every step, my brain played the highlight reel of our breakup. Him saying, I need space. Me dropping my coffee on the sidewalk. The silence after. 2 years of silence. Library room 4 is at the end of a long hallway. It has a glass door, so you can see inside before you enter. And as I got closer, I saw him. Leo. He looked different. Not bad different. Just older. His hair was shorter. He had a small scar on his chin that wasn't there before. He wore a simple blue sweater and glasses. Glasses. He never wore glasses before. They made him look like a kind librarian. Or a secret agent pretending to be a kind librarian. He was sitting at a round table, flipping through a textbook. He hadn't seen me yet. My heart started beating so fast I thought it would jump out and run away without me. I took a deep breath. I told myself, Daisy, you're here for math. Not for love. Not for closure. For math. Very boring, very safe math. I opened the door. He looked up. And the world did not stop. The clock did not freeze. No orchestra played. It was just awkward. Terribly, painfully awkward. He said, Hi, Daisy. His voice was the same. Soft. Like warm blankets. I said, Hi. You're a tutor now. He smiled a little. Yeah. I got good at numbers after it helped me focus. After we broke up. He didn't say the words. But they hung in the air between us like a wet blanket. I sat down across from him. The table felt like a river. We were on opposite sides. 2 years of silence, and now we were supposed to talk about calculus. Life is so weird. He opened his notebook and said, Okay, show me where you're stuck. I stared at him. Everywhere, Leo. I'm stuck everywhere. I don't understand why letters are in math. I don't understand why numbers have to move. I don't understand anything. He laughed. A real laugh. The kind I used to wake up for. And just like that, my heart cracked open a little bit. He started with something simple. Okay, Daisy. Forget the hard stuff. Let's start here. He drew a small circle on a piece of paper. What is this? I said, a circle. Good. And what do we measure in a circle? I thought for a second. The roundness. He laughed again. Close. The radius. The distance from the center to the edge. That's all calculus is, really. Measuring how things change. How distance changes. How time changes. How feelings change. I looked at him. Did he just say feelings? In a math lesson? He realized what he said and his face turned a little pink. I mean, numbers. How numbers change. Right. Numbers. For the next hour, he taught me like I was a small child. And I mean that as a compliment. He didn't use big words. He used cookies. He literally used cookies. He took a pack of Oreos from his bag, who brings Oreos to tutoring, and broke them into pieces to explain fractions. He stacked them to explain limits. See, he said, holding a cookie. If you take half of this cookie, then half of the remaining half, then half again, you never actually finish the cookie. You just get very small crumbs. That's a limit. I understood. For the first time in 2 years, I understood math. But I also understood something else. Leo was being nice. Too nice. The kind of nice that makes you forget why you broke up. At the end of the session, he said, Same time tomorrow? I nodded. Okay, but bring more Oreos. He smiled. Deal. I walked out of that library room feeling something I did not expect. It was not love. Not yet. It was hope. And hope is dangerous. Hope is the thing that breaks you again after you've finally glued yourself back together. That night, I lay in bed and stared at the ceiling. My brain was a battlefield. One side said, He broke your heart, Daisy. Remember the space? Remember the rain? Remember the Comic Sans letter you never sent? The other side said, But he brought cookies. And he explained limits with Oreos. And he looked at you like he was sorry. I didn't sleep well. The next day, I arrived 5 minutes early. I told myself it was because I wanted to be a good student. But really, I wanted to see if he would actually show up. Ex-boyfriends are not famous for keeping promises. He showed up. With 2 packs of Oreos this time. Double stuffed. I said, "You're trying to buy my good grades with sugar, aren't you?" He said, "Is it working?" I grabbed a cookie. Maybe. We sat down. This time, he didn't start with math. He started with small talk. Dangerous territory. "How have you been?" he asked. Not looking at me. Looking at his notebook like it was the most interesting thing in the world. I said, "Fine. Good. Great, actually. Busy with school. Lots of studying." Liar. I spent most of my free time watching dog videos and eating cereal for dinner. But he didn't need to know that. "Good," he said. "I'm glad." A long pause. The kind of pause that screams, we are both thinking about the breakup, but neither of us will say it. Then he clapped his hands together. Okay, derivatives. The derivative of a function tells you how fast something is changing. For example, if you drive a car, your speed is the derivative of your position. Ready? I nodded. But my mind was not on math. My mind was on the scar on his chin. I wanted to ask how he got it. I wanted to ask if he ever thought about me. I wanted to ask why he gave up on us. But I didn't. I asked about derivatives instead. He was a good teacher. Patient. He never got annoyed when I asked the same question 3 times. He never made me feel stupid. When I finally solved a problem correctly, he gave me a high five. A high five. Like we were teammates. Like we were friends. But we weren't friends. We were exes. And exes can't be friends. That's like saying a burned bridge can still hold people. It can't. The wood is gone. After the session, I packed my bag slowly. He did the same. The air between us was thick with things unsaid. Finally, he spoke. "Daisy, can I ask you something?" My heart stopped. "Sure. Why did you wait so long to get a tutor? Your grade is really, interesting." Interesting. That was a nice way to say terrible. I laughed. Because I thought I could fix it myself. I'm not good at asking for help. I never have been. He nodded. Me neither. I guess we have that in common. We stood there for a moment. 2 people who used to share everything, now sharing nothing but awkward silence. Then he said, "Same time tomorrow?" I said, "Yeah, same time." And I walked away. But this time, I didn't feel hope. I felt confusion. Because Leo wasn't the villain I had made him in my head. He was just a guy. A guy who broke my heart, yes. But also a guy who brought cookies and taught me math like I mattered. That is so much worse. Because it's easier to hate someone than to understand them. 3 weeks passed. 3 weeks of tutoring sessions. 3 weeks of Oreos and derivatives and limits and small talk that slowly became less small. We learned a rhythm. He would teach. I would pretend to understand. Then I would actually understand because he explained it again with a different example. He used pizza, cats, and even a funny story about his roommate to explain math. Who knew that a story about a guy who forgot his keys could teach you about rates of change? My grades started to climb. From 34 to 48. From 48 to 62. From 62 to 71. I was still not a math genius. But I was no longer a math disaster. I was a math ? And that was okay. But the real change was not in my report card. It was in my heart. Every session, Leo and I talked a little more. He told me about his life after the breakup. He said he moved to a different city for 6 months. He worked at a coffee shop. He lived alone. He said, "I thought I wanted space." But space is just another word for loneliness, Daisy. I learned that the hard way. I didn't tell him about my ice cream tub nights. Or the Comic Sans letter. Some things are too embarrassing to share, even with an ex. But one day, everything changed. It was a rainy Tuesday. Just like the day he broke up with me. The universe has a sick sense of humor, I swear. I walked into library room 4 soaking wet. My umbrella had broken. My hair looked like a wet bird's nest. My notebook was slightly damp. I was miserable. Leo took one look at me and said, "Oh no. Sit down. Here." He gave me his sweater. His blue sweater. The one he wore every time. I said, I can't take your sweater. You'll be cold. He said, Daisy, just wear the sweater. So I did. And it smelled like him. Like coffee and paper and something sweet. Memories flooded back. Late night talks. Holding hands in the park. The way he said my name. I sat down. He handed me a cookie. I didn't eat it. I just held it. Leo, I said. My voice was shaky. Yeah, why did you really break up with me? The room went silent. The rain tapped against the window. He looked down at his hands. For a long time, he didn't speak. Then he said, because I was scared. Scared of what? Of how much I loved you. I blinked. That was not the answer I expected. I expected him to say I was too much. Or he found someone else. Or he got bored. But scared? He continued, I was 20, Daisy. I didn't know who I was. And you were so sure of everything. You knew what you wanted. You laughed loudly. You loved completely. And I was afraid I couldn't be enough for you. So I left before you could leave me. I felt tears in my eyes. I tried to push them back. But they came anyway. Because I realized something in that moment. I had spent 2 years thinking he stopped loving me. But that was not the truth. The truth was worse and simpler. He loved me too much, and he was too young to handle it. Leo, I said, wiping my eyes with his sweater sleeve. That is the stupidest reason I have ever heard. He laughed. A sad laugh. I know it now. I was an idiot. Yes, I said. You were. But I took a deep breath. I forgive you. The moment I said those words, something shifted. A weight lifted. Not just from my shoulders. From both of us. 2 years of silent pain, gone in 3 words. He looked at me. Really looked. Daisy, I'm not asking for a second chance. I know I don't deserve it. But I want you to know I'm sorry. From the bottom of my heart. I'm sorry. I nodded. Okay. I accept your apology. Now can we please finish this lesson? I have a quiz on Friday and I really don't want to fail. He laughed again. A real laugh. And we went back to math. But everything was different. The walls were down. The past was finally in the past. Friday came. The quiz was hard, but not impossible. I remembered the Oreos. I remembered the pizza examples. I remembered Leo's voice saying, you can do this, Daisy. I finished the quiz. I walked out of the classroom feeling light. Not because I knew I passed, but because I had done my best. And for the first time in a long time, my best felt enough. That afternoon, I went to tutoring as usual. Leo was waiting. He had a big grin on his face. How was it? He asked. I don't know, I said. But I didn't cry. And I didn't run out of the room. So that's a win. He gave me a fist bump. A fist bump. We were truly in the friend zone now. Or something like it. But then he said something that changed everything again. Daisy, the tutoring program ends next week. This was my last semester as a tutor. So, after next Thursday, I won't be your tutor anymore. My stomach dropped. Oh, yeah. He looked at the table. But I was thinking, if you want, we could still study together. Not as tutor and student, but as, I don't know, 2 people who used to date and now are maybe friends? Is that weird? I thought about it. Was it weird? Yes, extremely weird. But also kind of nice? I'll think about it, I said. He nodded. Okay, no pressure. But there was pressure. The pressure of the past. The pressure of the future. The pressure of my heart, which was doing things I did not approve of. The last session arrived faster than I wanted. I walked into library room 4 for the final time as a student. Leo was already there. No Oreos this time. Just him and a notebook and a nervous look on his face. I sat down. No cookies? I forgot, he said. Sorry. Leo never forgot cookies. Something was wrong. What's going on? I asked. He took a deep breath. Daisy, I have to tell you something. And you might hate me after this. But I need to be honest. My heart started pounding. Okay. I didn't become a tutor by accident. I saw your name on the tutoring request list. And I asked the coordinator to assign me to you. The room felt smaller. You? What? I know that sounds bad. Creepy even. But I swear, Daisy, I didn't do it to hurt you. I did it because I never stopped thinking about you. When I saw your name, I thought maybe this was a sign. Maybe I could help you. Maybe I could see you again. Maybe I could say sorry in person. I didn't know what to feel. Anger? Yes, a little. But also something else. Something softer. Leo, that is manipulative, I said. You tricked me into seeing you. I know, he said. His eyes were wet. I know it was wrong. And I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But I didn't know how else to get you to talk to me. You blocked me on everything. You changed your number. You moved dorms. I couldn't find you. He was right. I had erased him from my life completely. Every photo, every message, every memory. I built a wall so high that the only way in was through a math book. I laughed. A shocked, disbelieving laugh. So you used calculus to find me? That is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. He smiled weakly. Yeah, I guess it is. I stood up. I need a minute. I walked out of the room. I walked down the hallway. I stood by a window and watched the rain. My thoughts were a tornado. Part of me wanted to scream at him. Part of me wanted to hug him. Part of me wanted to run away and never look back. But the biggest part of me, the part that had spent 2 years crying over him, asked a simple question. Do you still love him? I didn't have an answer. But I knew one thing. I didn't want to lose him again. Not like this. I walked back to room 4. Leo was still sitting there, his head in his hands. He looked up when I came in. His eyes were red. I'm sorry, he said again. Stop saying sorry, I said. I need you to answer one question. Honestly. Anything. Do you want me back? Or do you just feel guilty? He didn't hesitate. I want you back. I've wanted you back every single day for 2 years. But I didn't think I deserved you. And I still don't. But I couldn't stay away anymore. I sat down across from him. The table was still between us. But this time, I pushed my chair to his side. Leo, I said, you broke my heart. You left me in the rain. You said you needed space. That hurt. That really, really hurt. And I can't pretend it didn't. I know. But I paused. I also can't pretend that these last 3 weeks haven't been good. You helped me. Not just with math. With feeling less broken. And I missed you. I missed you so much it made me angry. He reached out his hand. Slowly. Like he was asking permission. I looked at his hand. Then I looked at his face. I took his hand. I'm not saying yes, I said. I'm saying maybe. I need time. I need to trust you again. And that won't happen overnight. He squeezed my hand. I'll wait. However long it takes. Good, I said. Now, since this is our last tutoring session, can you please explain integrals to me? Because I still don't get them. He laughed. A wet, happy laugh. He wiped his eyes with his sleeve and opened his notebook. Okay. Imagine you're adding up tiny slices of pizza to make a whole pizza. That's an integral. And just like that, we were back to math. But our hands stayed together under the table. Small. Secret. Hopeful. After that day, we didn't jump back into a relationship. We did something smarter. We started over. We went for coffee as friends. No pressure. No expectations. Just two people who used to love each other, learning to be in the same room without pain. The first coffee was awkward. We talked about the weather. The second coffee was better. We talked about movies. The third coffee, we talked about our fears. And the fourth coffee, we laughed so hard the people at the next table stared at us. Slowly, carefully, we rebuilt. Not the old relationship. That was gone. We built something new. Something with stronger walls and softer doors. He told me about his time alone. How he learned to be okay by himself. How he realized that running from love doesn't make you strong, it makes you lonely. I told him about my ice cream nights. My Comic Sans letter. My box of memories hidden behind old shoes. We both cried a little. We both laughed a lot. And math? Math became our inside joke. He would text me random problems, and I would send back answers with silly drawings. Once I sent him a derivative problem solved with a drawing of a cat. He framed it. He actually framed it and put it on his desk. My grades kept improving. Not because of him. because of me. But he helped me believe I could do it. And sometimes that's all anyone needs. Someone to believe in them. 6 months later, we were sitting on a park bench. The same park where we had our first date 3 years ago. The trees were different. The bench was the same. I was different too. Leo turned to me. Daisy. Yeah, I'm not going to ask you to be my girlfriend. I'm going to ask you something bigger. My heart stopped. What? Will you let me try again? Every day? To be better? To be honest? To never run away again. I looked at him. The boy who broke my heart. The boy who brought me cookies. The boy who taught me calculus with pizza slices and cat drawings. The boy who waited. Leo, I said, I have one condition. Anything. You have to promise me one thing. Name it. If you ever need space again, you tell me. You don't disappear. You don't lie. You just say, Daisy, I'm scared. And we'll figure it out together. Okay. He nodded. Tears in his eyes. Okay. I promise. Then yes, I said. You can try again. He kissed my forehead. Soft. Like a question. Like a beginning. And in that moment, I understood something important. Love is not about never getting hurt. Love is about getting hurt and choosing to stay anyway. Love is about broken things becoming beautiful again. Not perfect. Never perfect. But real. So here I am now, telling you this story. You might be wondering, did we live happily ever after? Well, it's been 2 years since that park bench. Leo and I are still together. We argue about small things. He leaves his socks everywhere. I take too long to get ready. Normal stuff. But every time we fight, he says, remember the Oreos? And I laugh. And we remember that we survived worse things than dirty socks. I passed advanced calculus. Barely. But I passed. And I don't use calculus in my daily life at all. But I do use something Leo taught me. I use patience. I use honesty. I use the courage to ask for help when I'm stuck. And I use this. Sometimes the person who broke you is the only one who can help you heal. Not because they're magic, but because they know exactly where the cracks are. And they know how to be careful with them. So if you're out there, nursing a broken heart, I want you to know something. Life is weird. Love is weirder. But don't close the door completely. Because one day, someone might walk through that door with a math book and a pack of Oreos. And they might be exactly what you need. Not to fix you. You are not broken. But to remind you that you were never alone.